Good evening. The hospital authority has admitted to a major blunder where a patient was given 25 times the prescribed dose of morphine. An 84-year-old female patient suffering from malignant melanoma was transferred to North District Hospital 2 days ago. After being admitted to the surgical ward, the patient was given a morphine drip at 3.3 milliliters per hour to relieve her of severe abdominal pain. A student nurse replaced the bag of morphine after it was finished but set the infusion device to deliver 83 milliliters per hour. The woman died 5 hours later. An investigation panel will be set up to investigate the incident. A policeman was jailed for 16 months today for molesting a mainland woman inside police headquarters in January on the pretext of a body search. The judge rejected the defense's plea for a lenient sentence, saying the crime was premeditated. Raymond Young reports.
2 weeks ago, Police Constable Kong Ho Wen was found guilty of indecent assault and misconduct in public office. Today, he was back in Eastern Court for sentencing. In mitigation, Kong's lawyer said his client suffers from serious back pain. A conviction for the 26-year-old has already destroyed his career, and he pleaded for leniency. But Magistrate Lee Seil-ho rejected the plea and believes Kong never showed genuine remorse for what he did. Citing the mitigation letter, Lee said Kong apologized to his family and his colleagues, but never to the victim, even accusing her of trying to seduce him. The judge added Kong holds a distorted sexual attitude towards women, treating them as sex objects and looking for opportunities to satisfy his sexual desires. He also slammed Kong for abusing the trust and faith the victim had in law enforcement officers, and his actions could cause the public to lose confidence in the police force. On such grounds, the judge sentenced him to 16 months in prison and rejected his request for bail pending an appeal. The court heard that Kong led the mainland woman to a female toilet at police headquarters on the 13th of January, after she was arrested for alleged shoplifting. He then started touching various parts of her body on the pretext he was searching her, and even asked her to remove her underwear.
New Innovation and Technology Bureau head Nicholas Yang says one main job of the body is to act as a bridge between the government and the IT industry. He listed out some aims but refused to set any deadlines. Vicky Wan reports.
Nicholas Yang was sworn in today after the State Council approved his appointment as head of the New Innovation and Technology Bureau. The new bureau has started operating after a more than 3-year struggle trying to get funding from the Legislative Council and despite opposition from some lawmakers. Yang told reporters enhancing the coordination between the government and different stakeholders in IT will be the bureau's top priority. He also listed 9 aims of the ITB, including better cooperation with the private sector, studying so-called smart city policies, tackling social problems with new technologies, and attracting young talent to the industry. But he did not estimate when any of the goals will be achieved.
I understand you're trying to set a timetable, but remember, coordination means, first of all, you have to get everybody to have agreement, consensus, to move ahead. Only when you have that, then you have the so-called priority setting. And once you set a priority, then we can focus our effort to accomplish what we want to do.
The new chief said he had met over 40 lawmakers over the past few months and hasn't felt any hostility against him so far. He said he believes his proposals will help Hong Kong people advance and make money, and those reasons are good enough to convince others to work with the ITB. The chief executive called on the public to understand that achievements in innovation and technology take time, and not every project in the new bureau will be a guaranteed success. Yang, who is 60, has master degrees in electrical engineering and business administration from Stanford University, and was previously the Hong Kong Cyberport Management Company's chief executive officer. He was appointed a non-official member of the Executive Council and the Chief Executive's advisor on innovation and technology in March while waiting for the ITB to be approved. Yang's deputies and other officials at the Bureau will be named later. Meanwhile, the Innovation and Technology Commission and the Office of the Government's Chief Information Officer have moved to the ITB from the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau. Along with the restructuring, the Communications and Technology branch under the CEDB has been renamed the Communications and Creative Industries branch. Vicky Wan, ATV News.
Health Chief Ko Wing-man says the government will double its efforts to promote organ donation in a bid to boost the low donation rate. This follows a study which showed a downward trend in organ donation since 2013. Vicky Wong reports.
There are currently more than 179,000 donors in the centralized organ donation register. But up until the 31st of October this year, only 20,461 people had signed up. And the latest health department figures show that the number of people joining each year has been dropping since 2013. The department also says a survey in 2013 indicated that the percentage of respondents who were not willing to donate organs increased significantly, from 8.8% in 2011 to 17.5% in 2013. Traditional beliefs are said to be one of the main reasons why people are reluctant to donate organs.
We think that traditional belief is not a simple thing that we can change within a very short period of time, and that is a process. However, we do hope that through our publicity and education, we can reduce the misunderstanding or myths about the organ donation.
Health Chief Ko Wing-man agrees and said the government will double its efforts to promote and educate people about organ donation. He added that the government will also conduct a study to gauge the public's views on an opt-out policy, a move to boost organ donation in the city.
We are indeed very concerned about the low organ donation rate in Hong Kong. The different options which has been raised recently, including the opt-out legislation, will be further explored with our healthcare professionals and experts, on the one hand. But on the other hand, it's also my intention to further understudy the citizens' receptiveness regarding such legislation.
There are around 3,000 patients on the waiting list for organ transplants. Vicky Wong, ATV News.
Overseas, at least 3 people have been killed after militants stormed a hotel in Mali and took 170 people hostage. As many as 10 gunmen armed with grenades stormed the Radisson Blu Hotel in Mali's capital, Bamako. 80 hostages escaped unharmed. Witnesses say the gunmen spoke English and tested hostages' knowledge of the Quran before allowing Muslims to leave. An operation to free the hostages is underway by Malian security forces. U.S. Special Forces are reportedly helping. The attack comes 1 week after militants attacked entertainment venues in Paris, killing at least 129 people. U.S. lawmakers have passed a bill to suspend plans to let in 10,000 Syrian refugees and subject them to tighter scrutiny. Republican presidential hopeful Ben Carson compared some Syrians to rabid dogs. Arthur Akilla has more.
An act to suspend the current compensation packages.
There were heated debates as the U.S. House of Representatives sought to intensify scrutiny of Syrian refugees following last Friday's deadly attacks in Paris. President Barack Obama's plan to admit 10,000 of them would be suspended under the bill, although lawmakers insist it wouldn't stop refugees entering the country.
Instead, this bill puts a pause on our refugee program until we are certain that nobody being allowed in possesses a threat to the American people.
But defeating terrorism should not mean slamming the door in the faces of those who are fleeing the terrorists.
Obama has threatened to veto the bill, but some Democrats called for tighter checks that don't target specific groups.
Unlike the Republican bill, the Democratic alternative applies tough scrutiny to all refugees, potential refugees, not just Syrians and Iraqis, as the Republican bill is limited to.
The bill was approved 289 to 137 votes and will now go to the Senate. Officials and advocacy groups see refugees coming to the U.S. are already entering under tight scrutiny.
As an essential fundamental part of the U.S. refugee admissions program, we screen applicants rigorously and carefully in an effort to ensure that no one who poses a threat to the safety and security of Americans is able to enter our country.
The FBI says there's no evidence suggesting Islamic State militants are trying to infiltrate the immigration system to launch attacks in the U.S.
ISIL and its supporters put out all kinds of propaganda like videos and magazines, but that is not credible intelligence.
Republican presidential hopeful Ben Carson also weighed in on the issue by comparing some refugees to rabid animals.
We must balance safety against just being a humanitarian. For instance, you know, if there's a rabid dog running around in your neighborhood, you're probably not going to assume something good about that dog, and you're probably going to put your children out of the way. Doesn't mean that you hate all dogs by any stretch of the imagination.
It's still unclear whether any of the Paris attackers were actually from Syria. Arthur Urquiola, ATV News.
In sports, qualifying for this Sunday's Formula 3 Grand Prix in Macau continued today, and there's action on ice between the Washington Capitals and Dallas Stars.